Okay, recording this video after close of trade Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020. It's just gone 7:34 p.m. Chicago time. So, hope you had a good day's trading. It was kind of fun today. Want to talk about the currencies and kind of generally risk-on trades setting up at the moment, and a little trade I call a grab and go. Long euro for this particular setup, all based on professional bars. So before doing that, let me just roll through quickly what you're seeing on the charts here. This is the euro contract. This is the at EC 4,000 tick bar chart. At EC gives you the futures market continuous contract. A 4,000 tick bar chart on euro futures is roughly equivalent to a 60-minute chart. And the reason why I use the futures contract and not the cash forex market is that we have volume data coming through the Globex exchange on the CME for the futures contracts. If you didn't do that, you'd be using kind of cash forex markets, and the only kind of volume data you get there is tick count, and that's not accurate enough. Luckily, about 15% of the total forex market is going through the futures side rather than the cash forex side, so that's why it's kind of representative of what is going on. So if you're a forex trader, look for that. If you want to get more accurate volume signals, you can get them by looking at the futures contracts on the Globex exchange. So two chart setup side by side. On the right hand side we have beta sine wave and everything to do with price. Beta sine wave down here is calculating the cycles in price in three different time frames, the low, intermediate and highest time frames, which allows us to plot support and resistance levels in those three time frames. The lowest time frames, the little thin lines here. The intermediate time frames are the slightly thicker lines here, and the very thick lines here are the support and resistance on the highest time frame. Breaks of support and resistance give us trend signals. Uptrends are painted in red, downtrends of weakness are painted in white. And then on the left hand side, everything to do with volume. Below the price bars here we've got beta momentum, which calculates momentum cycles based on volume, not price. And we get kind of exhaustion signals, bullish divergence, flush patterns and so on here. Those are also printed close to the price bars themselves. On the price bars we have beta pro-am, which uses average trade size to identify professional and amateur activity. Blue bars are showing professional activity, and yellow bars painted here showing amateur activity. So one of the questions I get very, very frequently is, how do you know whether professionals are buying or selling? And I find it difficult to answer that question. The easiest answer is to look at the trailing stop, beta pro-am's trailing stop here, which tells us whether the trend has changed based on the professional activity. But I'm also in my mind kind of cataloging different types of professional patterns. I don't think there are many. There are like 3 or 4 kind of important professional patterns, 1 or 2 kind of important kind of amateur patterns, and they show you what the professionals are doing. In general, what I say is, you get up bars into new highs and blue professional bars. They are taking profits at that point here. So you can see this on the Euro chart. Up bars here. New highs, they're taking profits at this point here, and then they're anxiously selling everything in the stack kind of down here. So they're happy to have resting buy orders or push the market up and get out in this kind of zone. But at this point here, they're saying, no, everything in the stack, we're going to sell it down because we think the market's kind of heading down. So that's what we see kind of going on here. But this little rally here, and I've gone long the Euro and long Aussie, you don't see blue professional bars kind of stepping in at the lows, and you're like, well, this is kind of intermediate to this kind of channel. What is going on here? And in fact, we haven't seen amateur down bars at this point here. If the amateurs were selling, we would have amateur down bars into these lows, and that would again give me indication that the amateurs are getting it wrong. We might see a Rambo pattern or two, and the thing would kind of go the other way. Instead, what we see is amateurs kind of almost buying the little breakouts and trying to get this move going, and they're wrong-footed each time. We're kind of going to new lows down here. But something different has happened here, where the blue professional bars kind of come in. Obviously, some kind of news or kind of macro item has come in, and they said, well, we just need to jump in straight away, kind of buy everything that's available to us here at 1180, what is that, 1280, and get this move going. That's why I call this a grab and go. They kind of grab everything and the thing just starts off and breaks to the upside and kind of keeps going. But what it needs to do is keep going. So at the moment, Japanese Asian session is open at the moment, so the European session is not open until a few hours' time, and we've had a little bit of weakness here. What I need this to do is to continue breaking up through here and get into the 13s, 113s kind of up here and crank higher. It's not doing that at the moment. That's okay. I can give this a little bit of room to move here. We can break a little bit into that kind of blue professional bars area. The lows kind of down here. What is that? 12.6. So, but that's about as much as you would give this trade because it has to immediately grab and get going. So I think we're going to have a little bit of kind of risk on. So I'm still interested in this kind of continuing to break to the upside. On price, we also have a nice little kind of signal here. So we had a very strong uptrend going on here. We broke above resistance on the highest time frame, and I talk about pullbacks to end of trends rippling through the time frames. You've got a classic example here. Yeah, we had pullback to end of trends on the lowest time frame. Then we had another pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, and then we have pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, which is just a beautiful signal, and we go into weakness from there. But the highest time frame support has come in, and we've busted just below intermediate support fractionally, and we come back above it, and we're now at the first kind of sign breaking above resistance on this lowest time frame here. So we've got strength kind of going on here, but we need the two indicators to go off at the same time. So we need the price indicators and the volume-based indicators to signal at the same time to give us a confirmed uptrend. This is a combo indicator here. When the price and the volume indicators both signal together, we get confirmed uptrends or confirmed downtrends. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm in long, so but I need confirmation. We need to get up to 13s and through 13s to really signal this is kind of on its way. Also done the same thing kind of going along into the Aussie. Aussie here, slightly different pattern. Yes, maybe you could call this a grab and go, kind of blue professional bar here. We didn't see blue professional bars kind of coming at the lows. We saw one here, and we immediately start to rally and kind of get going. So we're above the high of that blue professional bars. We're just around the highs of those blue professional bars. We've had our sell-off, our weakness here. We're in a rally phase, and with this price indicators again, also we're above support in the highest time frame and breaking above resistance on the highest time frame into strength. Here we've had both indicators go off together, so we have a red background showing that both the price and the volume indicators are showing strength and uptrends, so that's kind of better there. Is it a good idea to be both long the Aussie and the Euro? Well, do move together, so a little bit kind of cross-correlated there, but I'm okay with that. It's a decent kind of stops on this. I'm not risking a heck of a lot on the trade, but I do think we're in a risk-on kind of phase. Canadian dollar is moving close to the Aussie here. So you can see we've broken into an uptrend, confirmed uptrend on the Canadian dollar. Same thing, we've got support in the highest time frame that's gone off. We've also got support on the intermediate time frame gone off, and we've broken into an uptrend here. Here we had a blue professional kind of down bar sequence there, and we broke above the highs of that. So looks like, kind of risk on, Euro's going up, Aussie dollars going up, Canadian loonies going up. And what you'd expect is dollar index is weakening here, and you can see here exactly what's happened. So here on the dollar index, resistance on the highest time frame, we've broken below support on the lowest time frame. We've got white bars going on here, a grey background, nice blue professional bar up here at 97, and we've broken below the low of that sequence. So we've got some time to run. Resistance to support on the dollar index, so we've got a few days to see where this goes. We've got a risk-on kind of environment in general. In terms of the equity market, we've still got strength. I've shown you this chart before. This is the daily chart where we keep on breaking through resistances. We've broken through resistance on the low in the intermediate time frame, and we've got kind of confirmed uptrend going on here. There's still time to run. Once these cyclical patterns kind of set up, support to resistance on the highest time frame, for example, here, they do tend to play out. So I don't know where this is going, whether we're going to go back up, bust through the highs or whatever. We're certainly, the NASDAQ is extremely strong right now, busting to new highs, Apple and so on. So, this will continue until we get some kind of exhaustion move or end of the move on the way up. The way to time that is to go down in the time frames and look at what's going on. For me, the chart that's most helpful at the moment is the 45-minute chart, if you go down to that. So this is the strength that we're continuing to see above 2,900 at the moment. You see we had blue professional bars picking up the lows here, and this thing is still in a confirmed uptrend. So until we start to see exhaustion buy, yet we had the exhaustion sell, clearing everybody out, and the exhaustion buy getting the move going. We've had one little kind of severe weakness at this point here, but they held it and we rallied back. So that was selling that was all caught at that point there. So more blue professional bars coming in on the dip. So I think we're going to have a look through 3,200, and I think this gap fill is going to be really important here at 3,300. How it plays out there. So kind of just play it day by day. And at the moment we've got a risk-on environment. We've got the currencies, USD going down, and the risk-on currencies kind of going up. The equities market seemingly going up. So just kind of go with the flow. Where we might get a little bit of trouble, we might see on the crude oil chart, where resistance on the intermediate time frame kind of comes in. We had this amazing move, resistance to support here. Exhaustion sell, blue professional bars coming at $10 and $15, and we rally back up to 40, 45. Just unbelievable move. Resistance on the intermediate time frame in due at some point. So that might be an area that we find kind of some trouble. So for the next few days, I think it is risk on, but towards the end of the week, let's kind of reassess, see where the market's kind of going. Have these little moves in the risk-on currencies kind of played out. What's copper doing, what's crude doing, and so on. And is there an area that we might be starting to top out and kind of roll over? But seemingly at the moment I don't see it. So we've got a risk-on trade. So there we go, a grab-and-go kind of pattern. And at some point I'll do a fuller video on these 3 or 4 kind of important volume patterns that I see. For me, it's the next kind of understanding of better pro-am and how to interpret the blue professional bars and the amateur yellow bars. Anyway, hope your trading is going well.